Um, should the experiences around the Scunthorpe steel plant make us reassess our relationship with China and its interest in this country?
Well, good morning. It's been quite a learning curve for Britain. Firstly, to see the perilous state of our steel industry at a time when we're likely to need more steel. We're going to be spending more on defense, investing more in our security. Secondly, to discover that China was deliberately running down those furnaces, knowing it would cripple the UK's ability to make its own steel. And finally, we must ask ourselves, where else are we commercially engaged with China where their actions could impact on our critical supply chains to China's clear strategic advantage? Let's not forget, we're dealing with China here. We're dealing with a superpower on a mission, a country that does not play by the rules, that's long sought dominance in the critical supply chains, rare earths, and steel production too. China is known for its intellectual property theft, its espionage, its coercion, its forced technology transfers, ensnaring countries into debt traps. So I think as our world becomes ever more dangerous, that globalization starts to fragment, China absolutely should be removed from any involvement in our critical national infrastructure. That, I'm afraid, is a takeaway that I see from Scunthorpe.
So when the industry minister tells me that they're not ruling out the possibility of another Chinese partner for the Scunthorpe plant, you would not welcome that, presumably?
Absolutely not. I mean, did we not learn anything from Huawei? I remember that debate back in 2020. It was actually parliamentarians that forced the government to say we should not be allowing China to embed itself in our critical national infrastructure. We need to conduct a review because it isn't just in our steel manufacturing, it's also in our nuclear capabilities as well, right across our board. Nobody can say our world's getting more safe. It's getting more dangerous, and we need to have better resilience, improve our ability to look after ourselves, particularly not with a huge competitor like China.
The business secretary did tell us at the weekend there'd be a high trust bar for bringing Chinese investment into this country. Are you reassured by that?
We need to have engagement with China, but let's, as I spelt out, be very clear. China is on a very different approach. It has an alternative view for our global order. It looks at whatever advantages China, not the international community. And certainly when we're going through periods such as we are at the moment, particularly with those tariffs from the United States as well, increased instability, we'd be the only G7 nation that could not make its own steel. That is not a great position to be in. As I stressed, we're about to receive the defense review. That's coming out, I think, in May. That will demand huge resources spent on our armed forces, including more tanks, more aircraft, more planes, and so forth. We're going to need more raw materials in the UK. Let's make sure that we have our own resilience built in to the way we move forward.
And economic growth is absolutely vital at the moment, isn't it? The government has said that it's its number one priority. China is the second largest economy in the world. It's Britain's fourth largest trading partner. It's really important we have good relations and continue to trade successfully with them, isn't it?
Yes, I'm not saying at all that somehow we distance ourselves completely from China. But I've tried to spell out the fact that China plays by very, very different rules, that it does things that benefits China. And it has developed these monopolies over the last couple of decades, which means we are now subservient, if you like, over-reliant on our competitor. And we can see how quickly the grey zone warfare is developing, how quickly Heathrow, for example, was brought to a halt simply over one event such as that. We need to bear in mind that's exactly where our world is now going. And if somebody could switch off that supply chain, causing economic harm from afar, that's an easy way to make us weaker as China advances and becomes stronger.
How big an issue is this? I mean, ONS data for 2023 shows that total Chinese investment in the UK was about £4.3 billion. That's a very small fraction of the £2 trillion of overseas investment in the UK that year. So is this something that we should be too concerned about?
When it comes to security of supply, when it comes to retaining indigenous capability to produce our own steel, to produce our own raw materials, to stand on our own feet, then it's absolutely critical. It doesn't matter what the percentage is. If there's one widget, if there's one process, one component that we're over-reliant on, that China, as I say, could flip the switch, that places us in a very, very dangerous position indeed. The world is changing hugely and will continue to do so over the next decade, becoming far more dangerous, far more unstable. And we need to become more self-reliant. Yes, let's trade with China, but let's remove China from our critical national infrastructure.
What would you like to see happen to the Scunthorpe plant now? Are you comfortable with it being renationalised?
Well, I'm pleased that the steps that were needed. We're all learning fast about these. What happens with these steel reactors? It's important that we keep it going. If it's switched off, that is very, very dangerous indeed. But I stress, yes, we need to make sure that we have that capability in the UK to make virgin steel. Absolutely important as we move into a new era of investing in our defence and our security. We will need that steel sooner than later.
And happy with nationalisation?
Well, nationalisation is, I mean, Reagan did nationalisation. Sometimes the government must step in to support a critical aspect of what keeps our society strong. I hope it will be a temporary measure, but we do need a long-term solution. It's been a horrible journey for British Steel. We go back to Tata, we go back to Chorus and so forth. We do need a longer-term solution, and clearly this was not it.
OK, well, Tobias Ellwood, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.